This video is actually about DLSS 4 versus FSR 4. Now, everybody gave a lot of good job AMD to AMD when they actually initially announced FSR. So up until FSR 3, FSR was kind of supported by even really old graphic cards, like super old graphic cards. Everything supported FSR and everyone was like, whoa, great job bro. Yahi hota hai pro consumer stuff. Lekin, surprise, surprise, FSR 4, यानी कि Fidelity Super Resolution 4 is kind of locked only to the 9000 series. You may wonder why. I'm going to answer those questions for you in this video. Stay tuned. So, hello and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be talking about FSR 4 and DLSS 4. Funny how they end up matching, right? Matlab, once upon a time, AMD naming was so much different from NVIDIA naming, but now they're the same. Kind of. 5070, 9070, that kind of shit. 9060, 3060, XT and TI. But you would think that the 9000 series is better than the 5000 series. This 4000.
अरे कहना क्या चाहते हो?
I digress. That's not what this video is about. Now, before we say DLSS 4 is better or FSR 4 is better, let's just objectively talk about one thing. Now, many people say that these upscaling technologies mess up the picture quality. But you know, if you've been on those latest games which use these technologies, spoiler alert, they're actually not making your game worse. They're making it playable, and in very few cases, they're even making the quality better. Legit hai, ye ho raha hai. Don't think it's not happening. Just because you don't like a technology doesn't mean it's not good. So in this video, we'll be talking about FSR 4 and DLSS 4 only for their upscaling, not for their frame generation, which debatably so is kind of fake and introduces latency as well. Not to the point where it becomes unplayable, but maybe some esport players would like to contest that. Before we dive into the differences between the two technologies, let's know wo hai kya aakhir. So basically, your 1080p visual, you upscale it to 2K, or 2K visual, upscale it to 4K. Matlab layman terms mein, this is what FSR and DLSS is actually doing. Up until FSR 3, it was more or less software based, like we said earlier. But from FSR 4, it is hardware based now, which actually tells you NVIDIA was onto something. To get a properly optimized upscaling happening, you need hardware acceleration for it. It just can't happen just by software. GPU की जरूरत है, फिर software पे कर लो सब कुछ. ऐसा नहीं होता ना. AMD graphic cards now use hardware accelerators, something like tensor cores, to actually help in upscaling. They do. But there is a difference. Now both these technologies, DLSS and FSR, work with AI, the magic pill for everything in the world right now. But the key difference here is DLSS 4 works on the transformer model and FSR 4 works on the CNN model, convoluted neural network model, which incidentally was how DLSS 3 worked before version 4 came out. In a way, you could say the basis of FSR 4 was done by NVIDIA a couple years back. This is not to say one is better or worse. This is just to understand what are the key differences between the technologies. One may argue that transformer is better and CNN is better, but hey. Now you could think of CNN, which is used by FSR 4 and older DLSS models, as something which scans your image in small overlapping chunks. It's fantastic at identifying textures, the differences, edges, and gradients. That's what it's good at. It can sometimes, however, miss the bigger picture. For example, you have a tree. It might get the tree right, but it might totally miss the fact that the tree's shadow should have landed somewhere else. That's where CNN messes up. We've seen this in earlier implementation of DLSS as well. ये हुआ है, हमने देखा है, like there's a fence and the fence is kind of glitching in the distance. That kind of stuff. Now when you think of a transformer model which DLSS 4 uses, it inherently has a larger context of things. Like for your tree example, the transformer model will actually understand where the shadow should actually go. To put it simply, it looks at all parts of the image at once and figures out how every part relates to the other. It understands reflection in puddles, and yeah, you get the drift. By understanding global context, it makes smarter and more realistic choices in upscaling, filling in the missing pieces correctly. यही था दोनों का difference. Now DLSS 4 pulls out more detail. FSR kind of feels more closer to the original, and that smoothing thing happens with smoother kind of. I don't know how to show it, like smudged edges kind of stuff. In motion, FSR can keep things sharper, like grass. It's sharp. DLSS may sometimes blur them out, because this is just about how DLSS thinks about what's important in a scene. That's how it is. Now, both cut down shimmer and blur from previous implementations from TAA, but DLSS is ahead right now. Now, FSR sometimes still show ghosting, but yeah, DLSS kind of has fixed it over 3 generations, yeah. Now, the NVIDIA implementation sometimes looks over sharp, but does handle text better when compared to FSR. Now, across different scenes, DLSS 4 is consistently cleaner. Maybe just because it had more time in the oven, but here's the big commonality between the two. If you record footage of camera motion, high-speed motion, you'll probably be hard-pressed to say this is FSR and this is DLSS. Facts. Hit you harder. Now, we did do some testing between the 5070 Ti and the 9070 XT, the way it should be done. And yeah, the results are on your screen in these 3 games. The games in question are Last of Us Part 1, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Spider-Man 2. Admittedly, these are games which are biased towards AMD because they were actually designed for PS5, which happens to have AMD GPUs. So you would assume that FSR would actually be better on all those games. That is not the case. DLSS does hold its own, and yeah. So who is better? I mean, it's really hard to say. DLSS does a great job in trying to upscale and giving you slightly higher level of detail than even the original textures. On the other hand, FSR looks closer to native and doesn't do a bad job as well. There is genuine FPS gain up to 20-30% in certain games. So yeah, खराब कौन सा है अच्छा बोलना मुश्किल है bro. It actually boils down to your personal preference. As it stands, the DLSS is slightly ahead in the technology itself, and if you add multi-frame gen to the mix, I think it's kind of killing it. AMD also has that feature coming in soon enough, so there you go. But yeah, one thing for certain, we are not going away from AI upscaled or generated frames anytime soon. It's not happening. All your frames are going to be fake frames. It's happening. 8K उसके बिना नहीं चलने वाला है. Just think about it. If you actually do the math, which we love here, mathing, 8K has so many pixels. Because I'm lazy to do math, it'll just be on the screen. 8K has that many pixels. Now imagine refreshing that many pixels more than 100 times a second, which involves physics calculations also. Insane hai. Then add light bounces to the mix. I really don't know how it's gonna happen without AI. At least we don't know up until now. And yeah, that is exactly why these technologies came into place. So, finally, if you want to build a PC with any of these GPUs, you know who to get in touch with. And no, we're not being diplomatic, both are actually good.